we go. It's Wednesday night, and that means welcome to the Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat. We are two local lads here to talk about the global game. My name is Evan. I represent the Blues of Chelsea. To my right, your left, is my dear friend Aaron, representing Red Devils of Manchester United. I was going to support the Blues today, but given recent performances, man, I felt the need to throw on the Volkswagen. I just did.
We will definitely be getting to a little bit of
yeah, absolutely,
that later on. But yes, everybody, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Appreciate you being here, or whenever you're tuning into this, as the case may be. Yeah, Evan. Sporting the U.S. men's national team jersey. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
There you go.
Boy, U.S. soccer Twitter got itself all bent out of shape, and then
now they look silly.
Really wasn't a reason.
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
So,
well,
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those deals too. It's like, we'll get into it, but I just think it's very strange that people talk about the men's national team in a way that hardly ever gives them credit. And so, but anyway.
Well, yeah, it's the sort of inferiority complex I think a lot of the American fans have, but it is what it is. So we'll jump right in with a little bit of...
There you go.
The United. Gonna need a cocktail to talk about this. Well, in some good news... probably for both of us, really. I think it's beneficial for both clubs.
I think so.
We have, it seems, completed the signing of Mason Mount. He was debuted, somewhat controversially, getting the number 7, given the history of the shirt, although you could say that, some of the people who've worn it in the last few years perhaps also not really lived up to the weight that jersey carries with us.
So is it his number, or was it just for the debut? Or
no, I believe they've given him the squad number of 7.
Okay.
I can't imagine you'd put him out like that and not. So
yeah,
it was a big deal on all the merchandising and stuff today. So, I think the plan is he'll obviously slot in somewhere in the midfield. Rumors about Ten Hag wanting to switch from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-1-3-2, a little bit more dynamic, I guess, maybe. Obviously, you've got one more at the point of the attack, so it'll depend on how much he's wanting to press. I also have a feeling that you're going to see Mount get used in certain situations, Eriksen get used in certain situations, Casemiro and Fred being used in certain situations.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, beyond that, the Glazers sort of not really sure about exactly what they want to do and how they want to sell this club is I think, really beginning to impact things. Especially letting De Gea's contract run out. And from the sound of things, Ten Hag sort of backed out and said, nah, we're not going to pay a guy this much money if my plan is to actually replace him. The problem is, much like don't ever quit your job before you have a new one, really don't let your top-level goalkeeper's contract expire without finding another one.
Yeah.
Because now Inter, really hold all the bargaining chips in that respect. And... this has been long and drawn out already. I think Harry Kane is probably a lost cause at this point. Osimhen might be too much money. I know they've been looking at Rasmus Højlund, who's supposedly the next Erling Haaland. Remains to be seen if that's the case. But we've seen Zidane Iqbal and Ethan Laird both allowed to leave on permanence. And then Shola and Axel and some of the other young guys are going back out on loan. So I think that is good there. We don't need a ton so long as some of these youngsters are going to be able to step in. I mean, I think we saw with Garnacho and to a lesser extent Pellistri seem ready to at least contribute with some minutes. So
you've seen some flashes from these guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we go back to De Gea? Let's go back to De Gea real quick. 2 questions for you. Number 1, what worries you if you guys lose him? What worries you if he ends up staying?
Well, this is one of those weird really in the weeds of things when it comes to discussing, because I still think objectively David De Gea is one of the best shot stoppers around. Yes, he's had a few high-profile mistakes, but you don't accidentally become the leader in clean sheets and appearances for a club like Manchester United. Won the Golden Glove for the season. I mean, really everything that he's supposed to do, he did. So I think people are focusing on really, the style that they wish Manchester United would play, and it does not suit that just yet. But there's always going to be a transitional period. But this is problematic. I'm not. I think it was wrong to let it kind of run down like this. But again, that's more a reflection on the owners than anybody else.
Yeah.
The guy deserves, probably a testimonial. He was there for 10 years, I believe, maybe 11, and has been one of the top goalies in the world, certainly in the Premier League, for the better part of that decade. But it probably is time to bring somebody in. I wasn't prioritizing it myself, but if it presents itself, if you can get Onana, then I think it does make sense. It's just the manner and the way in which it's all kind of unfolded.
Right.
And it, when you're trying to, sign other players as well, that can be kind of frustrating. So
yeah, I'm just checking on this. Making opening bid 2 hours ago. So, it looks like they're 6 hours ago said they're going to medical. So I don't know.
Oh, with Onana? Okay, well then that's a good sign.
thing. That's a good thing, man. So kudos for you. That's gonna be a huge help, especially with this De Gea situation. Anyway, what else you got for us, man? Is there anything that's worrying you? Like, talk a little bit about the Glazers situation. Like, how long, whenever it, obviously Chelsea was an anomaly. I mean, you had, a Russian oligarch being kicked out, and then, you had to get somebody in leadership there. How long does a regular kind of process like a sell happen? How long does it take?
It really shouldn't have taken this long. They should have been into exclusivity months ago, and just negotiating directly and working out the details. And then you say, if that doesn't work, then we'll go to the other guy, and he has exclusivity. It just really shows you the poor level of ownership and stewardship that the Glazers have brought to this, because they don't do this with their domestic sides here in the United States.
No, not at all.
And it seems like they got a big shiny toy and they want to get as much money for it as they can. And what they're failing to realize is they've devalued the club.
Wow.
They have brought it to a point where and I say devalued, they're still one of the wealthiest and most sought after, sporting clubs on the planet.
Sure.
But this is problematic. This causes issues. It causes you, the knock-on effect of not getting players, of not supporting Ten Hag when he wants it, makes it a lot more likely that he walks away, before the end of his term if he doesn't feel like he's getting the support he needs, as well managers should. You don't come into a project like this and, have to watch the purse strings aside from the, financial fair play stuff. So
right.
I think it's just, yet another in the gigantic pile of bullshit that the Glazers have brought to Manchester United.
Man. Well, what's interesting about the whole situation is that I still believe, and I think we've talked about this just a little bit ago, that the players are just like, I got to believe that most of them are just like, look, I just want to play ball. Like, can we just settle this so that we can just go out and play ball? Because they were close last year. They were close. There was one point in the season, and I truly believe this, that it was like, you know what? If anybody could really step up and challenge City, given the history, it would have been United. It would have been United. Now, like you said, everybody, injuries and fatigue and World Cup in the middle of everything. But I think that this team, once they get past this whole sale, I hope that they pick up right where they left off.
Yeah.
I really do.
I do too.
So
that's really about it on the United front. So we will move over to...
Yes. So yeah.
Well, I was just going to lead in there for you. So, you know, the Mason Mount deal is done. I think that's beneficial for both clubs. I think he needed a change of scenery. Haven't really brought in too many other new guys just yet, but still several more people going out that door, which I think is, again, what's really kind of needed. Oh, Hakim Ziyech failed his Al Nassr medical test.
Yes.
99% certain to leave. Well, of course he is.
He's got to leave. But, yeah, I've got a list here, man, of guys that I was just going through, and I was trying to find out what's going on with him. I'm just going to – last names. These are the cells. These are the people that are gone. Zaharia went to Juventus. João Felix, Atletico.
Well, that was just a loan, wasn't it?
It was a loan, so he's just going back.
Okay.
Conte, Al-Ittihad. Yeah. Edward Mendy, Al-Ali, Koulibaly went to Al-Hilal, Hakim Ziyech, you know, we found out he failed the medical test.
That's
but
crazy.
He's still going to go. I mean, he's still going to go. You know, Dave is gone. Mateo Kovacic, Man City. Kai Havertz, Arsenal. Loftus-Cheek, Milan. There's rumors that Gallagher, Chalobah, and Hudson-Odoi are available for sale as well. Mount to Man U. Pulisic, kind of rumored around AC Milan
he said no to Lyon's bid. They tried to come over the top of what AC Milan was offering, so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out, because it looks like a loan either way, which is probably not exactly what Chelsea wants. But
right.
Here's the thing. If Pulisic goes off to either of those clubs and starts and has a healthy run of 10, 15 games in the way he's not been able to, then he becomes a commodity for you, even if you don't choose to play him, because now you can sell him on for a higher fee.
Right. Aubameyang, Lukaku, Broya, and or David Fofana, gone. Got to be gone. There were rumblings about Sterling. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we need Raheem Sterling. I think we need his play out on the field to help create. Cucurella, I think we keep him to back up the starters that I think are going to be there. So here's what we got. You know, I know it's Pochettino, but I just love calling him Poch. Poch runs 4-2-3-1, and that 3-1 is pretty much interchangeable. You can push someone up forward to make it 2 or whatever. But here's what I got. Kepa's starting goalkeeper. I know that he's looking at the American. I think he's looking at possibly bringing in an American goalkeeper, like a younger guy. But right now it's still Kepa. Right back, left back. I mean, you've got to do Reece James and Ben Chilwell. They are one of the best tandems in the league when they're healthy, when they're playing well. I think that you start them. Center back, I think Wesley Fofana gets this, but I think Thiago Silva, Badiashile, and Colwill will definitely rotate in. But I think Wesley Fofana will get the majority of play there, which I love, because with Thiago Silva still being there at least one more season, that leadership, that, you know, kind of saying, guys, look, here's where you got to be. Just that elder statesmanship that he has, I think is going to be really nice. And the guy can still somewhat play some minutes. So that's going to be good. Defensive midfielders, Enzo. And then Moises Caicedo. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Caicedo, we're looking at him from Brighton, and hopefully we can get him. I think we got him, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a day or two ago. We may still be in negotiations, but I know that it looks really good for us to get him, and I would love to have those two as our defensive midfielders. Attacking midfielders, this is where I think Sterling stays. Sterling, Mudryk, and Nkunku. Madueke will be a backup, but I think you go with those three, and then Nicholas Jackson, which I think the combination of Jackson and Nkunku, Mudryk plays Poch's style of game, I think, and Raheem Sterling is just going to be that much more solid with those guys in there playing that system. I think Sterling can pick up the system really well. So I think that the needs we have is one more attacking midfielder, because you're going to need them, and then one more defensive midfielder.
Always always more defense in the midfield. It's better when it looks good in there. Just a guest appearance by someone who doesn't know enough about soccer to speak intelligently, but I do love me some Man U.
There you go.
Okay, everything was good up to that point.
So I've got to throw some curveballs at you.
Okay,
here.
do it, please. Do it, please.
Nicholas Jackson. I got to be honest, I don't know a thing about him, but he's 18 years
Yep.
old, and you have a conspicuous absentee on this list.
Yep.
You're not going to start Nkunku?
Yes. This is where the 4-2-3-1 comes into play.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
So
Okay.
see, he can deliver the ball. He can make it happen for Jackson, but he can also
think
push
he's going
up.
to be the most versatile.
Absolutely.
That front
Absolutely.
group. Madueke's young. Jackson's young. Honestly, from what I've seen of Mudryk, I'm not sure he belongs in the Premier League, but it's hard to judge a guy when the entire place had gone to a shit show.
I am betting on Mudryk to be kind of the, Son of Chelsea. With what Poch did with him, I hope that he's able to do with Mudryk.
Okay.
Saying. So that's why I'm going there. But yeah, no. Nkunku definitely starting. He will be the center of our attack. But we will, Jamie Tartan will literally go through him, and he'll create, and it'll be, I think that will work out well, getting Jackson some reps up there, trying to get him the ball. If he can't, Nkunku, he's got it. So I like this. This is what I think. This is not the, solid whatever. But I think if we can do this, I think we've got a good shot at just bouncing back this year. So that's my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got.
If you could bring in somebody else to bolster this realistically, you don't get to choose Messi. But, top-level players that are moving around right now could maybe throw your hat in for. Yeah, I see the same problem with this team that you've had for the last few seasons, and that is there's not a striker scoring regular goals.
And you know where I'm going with this. I mean, if there is a way to land a Harry Kane, and here's the deal: we have sold, or have they've been given back on loan. We've sold so many players that we have opened up ourselves to be able to at least be competitive to try and get that type of striker. So I think that, once again, if we can get or land a big-name striker like that, then Jackson gets a chance to come in, learn. He doesn't get thrown into the fire immediately, because I think this has the potential to be something just like you said, a shit show, but it also has the potential to be something, especially with the quality that they have right behind him. I think that it has the chance to be something really good. But if you can get that solid presence up front, I think it solidifies things. It lands us in a place where we are immediately competitive. There are no question marks if you put a Harry Kane up front.
True.
None.
But
he's not available.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You asked me what.
I think Levy has made it abundantly clear he's not going to let Harry Kane go to another Premier League club. I know they tabled a bid. I know Bayern Munich is in for him, and that honestly, that makes a ton of sense right there.
I think
Harry Kane to Bayern Munich makes a ton of sense.
Actually, last thing I saw, I think Bayern is close.
Yeah,
I think they're close, but yeah, that something like that. But
so. Just sell Lukaku outright. Obviously, he's not going to come back and play.
Yeah, no, got to sell him out.
That's where I might be looking into, spare parts from Inter Milan, because Italy's a selling league. So if you're sending Lukaku the other way, maybe one of their youngsters, maybe somebody who's a veteran that you can bring in. You don't have to rely on him. He can be a leader, that kind of thing.
Bring back Olivier Giroud.
Well, I mean, you've got Lautaro Martinez, although I don't think you're probably going to get a hold of him anytime soon.
No.
So, I mean, we're both kind of in that same boat, looking for this sort of golden unicorn to score some goals for a team that, I think for us, we created plenty of opportunities and just didn't have a lethal striker on the end of it. You guys have probably more work from back to front
to
do. So it is going to be interesting to watch Pochettino build this team in his image and see what he wants to do with it. I've got a lot of question marks about You've assembled the island of misfit toys over the last couple of years, and trying to figure out which of those guys are. I mean, they're all quality players. They just don't belong here. You know, I was personally really surprised that Koulibaly he never ever looked comfortable.
I
playing
wanted
in the
him
Premier
to.
League.
I wanted him to, man.
I mean, we looked at him a couple years ago, and I thought, man, this guy's got all the tools. And I don't know. And again, you don't know how much just. Chelsea fell apart from the beginning of the season. Had a brief run of decent results under Potter, and then the wheels really, really fell off. And you just have to wonder, how much that has a knock-on effect on these guys in their individual play.
Well, you also, once again, you lose someone like Thomas Tuchel at the very beginning of the season, and then bring in, Graham Potter. Anytime, I don't care who it is. Anytime you.
We didn't lose him.
Well, no. But
he was cast aside.
We lost him.
Yes.
But anytime you do that, I don't care who you are, it sends shockwaves throughout the club. And so I think that, once again, I'll stand by what I said. I think Potter is a good manager. I think Brighton, the job he did there was incredible, but that is his type of managerial skills, is that he wants to come into a club, stabilize the club, start to build this club back. That's what he does. Problem is, you were coming into a situation that was toxic still from everything that had been going on. To the purchase of the club. And then the parts that we all loved about it was, Todd Bowley's such incredibly adept tweeter.
Right.
And just making an idiot of himself. But I think that with Poch being able to come in.
I hear Elon's got some good ideas.
Anyway, with Poch being able to come in and do what he wants to do, I think that's going to speak volumes. And I think that since he has the summer to work with these guys, it's going to be a different thing. So.
No.
Oh.
Not tonight.
Not tonight? No.
Okay. I need to prep for that one.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there may be the ubiquitous hot sauce challenge coming up at halftime of one of our shows. The goal will be to see if we can complete the second half of the show after doing not a shot of sauce, but a quick taster
what was the level of the sauce you said?
2 million Scoville.
Holy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. By all accounts, it seems to hit pretty hard early on, but not linger quite so much.
Yeah. I went on the ride. I was like, oh man, this is not good, and I'm going to try it again.
Well, early on, everybody got the red face, but I've seen people struggle with it for like an hour or two. This seemed to kind of subside a little more quickly than some others I had seen. So,
man. Oh, and here is the possible. Oh my gosh!
We'll definitely need to plan for this.
It is called
2 million Scoville.
The
Is that right?
End. Oh man! All right.
So, well, thank you all for tuning in. We're once again at Chatham Tap with the lovely ladies of Chatham Tap, Fisher, JoJo, and Claire. Thank you guys for having us. I always appreciate it. You're wonderful.
Cilantro.
You may have that back. And we will see you after the show. Thank you once again.
Dude, I wanted to say this. For those of you who are watching, I have been nursing this because I've had the best 50th birthday week of all time. And when I say best, my liver is my liver is kind of upset with me right now. But man, thank you.
Of course.
You helped make that just absolutely awesome.
Do what I can. Do what I can. So.
Gosh.
Real quick, we'll repeat it again at the end of the show, but we got some fun things hopefully coming up on the horizon. We've made contact with a few people really heavily involved in local soccer, Indiana soccer specifically, and we're going to be talking about what's going on at the grassroots level in the Indianapolis community and a little further afield. Hopefully some chatting about the women's professional team in Indy 11W, I believe is what they go by, and just some broader conversations about the game with some minds on people who've been there at pretty high levels, and can maybe kind of elevate the conversation and also sort of give us a little bit more insight into some concepts within the game that I think a lot of people use the terminology of, but may not, fully understand what it is, how it gets applied, counter pressing versus gegenpressing versus, secondary pressing, that type of stuff, and just sort of some tactical looks at the game. So we're both really excited about that. I've had a few preliminary discussions with those folks, so hopefully coming up later in the summer, we'll have that on the agenda for you. So stay tuned for that. And now,
there we go.
There's our boys in the red, white, and blue. And
Man.
I tell you, when we were here a couple weeks ago, it was just doom and gloom from everybody in U.S. soccer Twitter. And gosh, why are we taking our B team? Because we don't understand how the international calendar works. And here we are 3 games later. Yeah, it was a little bit of an interesting thing against Jamaica, but I think also look at who's qualifying here. Look who's doing well. Jamaica brought basically a Premier League squad, or at a minimum, some Premier League guys with championships, championship experience. So, that team is no slouch. We're putting together some veterans, some young guys, trying to get some minutes, some Cade Cowles out there, and a few other players. So it's not going to look the same. This isn't our first squad, but I tell you, we got to play these games.
Yes.
And they bounced back. Yes, it was St. Kitts and Nevis and a very underwhelming Trinidad Tobago side. But all you can do is beat the team in front of you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to even take it a step further. This criticism of Jesus Ferreira and, he got 2 hat tricks in a row, but they were against St. Kitts and Nevis and they were against Trinidad. Well, you know what? Look at Landon Donovan's hat tricks. Pretty sure one of those was against Cuba. I don't think Clint Dempsey was hanging 3 or 4 goals on Germany.
Right.
Let's face it, at the end of the day, you beat up on certain teams in your area. I would imagine, Wayne Rooney and Harry Kane have a handful of hat tricks against the likes of San Marino and Luxembourg. So, I think you got to take all this, with the grain of salt that's there. But we're winning. We've got a matchup against Canada. I have not been terribly impressed with what I've seen out of Canada. I think all of their games have been within a goal or so. They don't look terribly well organized, and of course they're struggling with the money issue right now. Evan, what do you got to say to all these haters out here?
I just, first of all, what kills me about this is that, and yeah, I'm going to pick on Man City fans. Man City can, drop, 4-0 on Nottingham Forest, and they're like, oh man, let's give them the championship. Which, okay, different level play, I get it.
Right.
But the teams you are supposed to beat, you should beat.
Yes.
Like this.
Yes.
When, 4-8 years ago, we're looking and we're not seeing this type of domination from the U.S. We're just not.
Correct.
And so I think that now that we've gotten here, there is this air of just, I don't even know what to call it, like arrogance that American fans have that's like, well, why can't you do this against Mexico? Why can't you do this against Canada? Well, because you said it. You play the team that is in front of you. Why does Hanover beat Cincinnati Bible College 8-0? Well, because they...
Well, but you also have to take into the familiarity that exists, right?
Yeah.
You see, Manchester City and Liverpool get drawn against each other in cup competitions, things like that, play each other maybe 4 or 5 times over the course of the season. You start to learn each other a little bit.
Right.
You start to figure out tendencies and styles of play. And as players, you recognize what needs to do. As a manager, you take up different tactics. Look, it's the United States, Mexico, and Canada, and everyone else in CONCACAF right now. Even with Jamaica playing well, and hey, maybe they go on to win this particular tournament, but we all know that they were not going to beat our Nations League team.
Yes.
Okay? So the goal here is to find out which of these guys can play at this level, who can handle the pressure, who can play in the cauldron of CONCACAF, because quite frankly, it's an ugly
it's a grind.
Bit of a grind. And you find out which of these guys are ready to go. And Jesus Ferreira has gotten his opportunities, and he's walked out on that field, and he's put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And if it were that easy, everybody would do it. So
yes.
I'm kind of annoyed, and I'm not crowning us world champions by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I'm just, logically recognizing what has to happen in order to build a squad in order to go to a World Cup and have a chance.
Here's also what we need to be excited about. Is that, yes, you've got the Jesus Ferreras, but you've got the younger guys, too, playing so well around him.
I think so.
That it's absolutely amazing. You had three guys just in this last game to score their first goal.
Yep.
First, international goal. And it's like, damn, man, why are we celebrating this? And I think what I want to say to the haters is this. Just STFU. Just stop it. Just stop. Because I think any good football nation would look at their team, and if Belgium came in and played whoever, Luxembourg, let's just use them again, and beat them 6-0, it would be a short little blurb on the sports, but they would break it down. They'd be like, okay, so-and-so played well, they did this, did this. It wouldn't be like, oh, well, why can't we do this? So let's follow suit. Let's stop trying to be so arrogant and pompous about this and realize that on any given day, if you're playing well, you can beat any given squad anywhere. I mean, it just is what it is. And so we got the best of these two squads and really, really played well.
It's really one of those no-win situations, too, because if the B squad / C squad goes out and gets beat, they say, see, I told you so, they're a B squad, and what are we doing with them? They're not good enough. But if they go out and win, then you say, well, they're beating up on other teams that also brought their B teams. So you know what? At the end of the day, all of these guys have got to pull on that jersey, play with pride, and you want to see improvement. Look, I thought Cade Cowell had a really, really nice, U20 to U21 tournament a month ago. He has struggled to find the pace of these games. That said,
he scored.
He had an assist for an assist the other night, and I thought played his way into it a little bit more. And that's what you want. You want to see improvement. I don't expect the finished product just yet. Right. That's why he's on the B squad. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people who fail to put these things in their appropriate sort of compartment. You watch. We're going to watch Chelsea and Manchester United play these preseason friendlies around the world, and the main goal is to get minutes on the legs so these guys get into game shape, and then you want to be able to you're going to see mass substitutions. You're going to see all sorts of different combinations of players, and these are the games you have to do that in. It's the same in international play. We don't call them friendlies anymore. We've created these made-up competitions, and yes, the Gold Cup used to matter a whole lot more.
Right.
Doesn't matter as much. This year, the Nations League mattered more, and that's where we prioritized, and I'd like to remind you, we won the damn thing. So if we go out and we win the Gold Cup again, like we did a few years ago with what was supposedly a bunch of B guys, then at least have the guts to say, you know what, these guys did what was asked of them, and they've moved us forward a little bit. Only a handful of them are going to make that final roster, but this is the time where they get that experience, and maybe this is where a Cade Cowell or somebody does get enough experience, shows that he's got the gravitas to play out there, and is ready to go when called upon in the 76th minute against Netherlands next time.
Yeah. Just a side note, our favorite Canadian, Joey Votto, just hit a home run. Dude, it was great. It was a great home run. And which, by the way, thanks, Dave, from Chatham Tap Fishers for throwing the Reds on the screen for us. Appreciate you.
So I think that's good for the men's national team. As you can see on the crawl, the U.S. takes on Canada in the quarterfinals on Sunday night.
Predictions for that?
I'm going to go like 3-1 United States. I don't think we're going to be able to keep them out, but I don't think they've got enough to really cause us big problems.
Yeah.
They might even score first and, of course, bring us out of the shell. But I think in general, right now, what I'm seeing is we've just got more than other teams. It's not perfect. There's been some sloppy play. We probably should have coughed up a few more goals here and there. But again, this is the learning process. As long as you get better throughout the course of the tournament, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Ramp it up. Come final game, maybe we're playing against Mexico. Maybe we're playing against Jamaica. Who knows? But you just pull on that jersey and you go out and beat the team in front of you.
That's it. That's it. So let's transition to the other.
Yeah, so we'll go with that for a second. But as far as I'm concerned, here's their real song.
They are champions.
Because they are the current holders of the World Cup trophy.
Yes.
And they go into this cycle with the opportunity to do something that's never been done before in men's and women's soccer, and that is to win a third consecutive World Cup. They're holding the last two. It's going to be very interesting, as I pointed out in our little write-up today. 14 new players on the World Cup roster as far as getting actual World Cup experience. But even more impressive, Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, Julie Ertz, and Kelly O'Hara set to go, double digits here in appearances, straight across the board, maybe double digits in goals for a couple of them. And an opportunity to really etch their name in stone amongst the all-time greats of this game. I need to dive in a little bit more because I gotta be honest, I don't recognize a lot of these new names. I haven't followed the qualifying as much simply because we obviously were, riding a good wave. I have noticed that we've been playing well, getting the results that are needed. So we're gonna do a little deep dive as we can, get a little bit more info. So our show here in a couple weeks before the World Cup kicks off, we can be a little bit more educated about it. We obviously are familiar with the big names, your Alex Morgan, Mal Swanson, Meg Rapinoe, Julie Ertz, Rose Lavelle.
Yep.
I'm really excited to see Trinity Rodman get out there.
Yes.
I think she made it. I'm not sure this is our full roster right now. But bye-bye. But I'm excited to watch this team play, and I'm excited because there is a good mix of youth and experience out there. So we'll see how this goes, but I'll definitely be rooting for these ladies to do something that's never been done before. It'll be exciting. The first match is July 21st against Vietnam. Not sure what time that is. It's probably at like 4 in the morning or something ungodly. But we will try to have a watch party for any of the games that are
9 p.m.
Oh, it's a 9 p.m. game. Well, excellent. Well, maybe we'll have a little kickoff watch party for that. I believe that is a maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday. I'm not quite sure.
That is my brother's birthday. So
we will sort that out.
Jason?
Actually, we can we do have modern technology.
I'm excited about this team. I really am. I think that it is the transition team. You know what I mean? Like you have your old heads. You got your people been there, done that. You got people who are solid about it. But you also have the influx of players coming in who have proven themselves. It's
a Friday night, 9 o'clock. Friday night at 9 o'clock.
Oh my goodness!
I think we may have to have a little watch party, folks.
This place is going to be hopping.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, we better tell Dave about that.
I'm gonna have to get my Alex Morgan jersey.
There you go. But I think the interesting thing about this is that as you look at this squad, the squad is absolutely incredible. I mean, if you look at the level of talent, you like I said, you've got the older players, but then you have someone who, I forget her name, but the rookie that has been playing so well, the youngest one that has ever been selected to the U.S. women's national team. She's there, and I think the level of play that she brings with that is, you're fine. Level of play that she brings is absolutely cool. So,
yeah. So we've got. Listen, there is probably going to start and go, I would imagine. Looking forward to seeing Crystal Dunn back out there again. Just going through Sophie Huerta, huge Kelly. Emily Sonnet. I'm telling you, Emily Sonnet's my spirit animal.
There you go.
Love
there
her.
You go. I just love me some Rose Lavelle, man.
Yeah.
I love.
So
she's gritty.
Lindsay Oran, Christy Mewis. I believe this is the first time we've got the sisters playing. Is Sam playing as well? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But yeah, really excited to watch these ladies play, and they play at such a high level, and it goes without saying they deserve our respect.
Oh my goodness!
Probably even more so than the men because they actually bring it when they need to. And I guess I just took a dig. I just took a dig.
Hey.
So none of us are immune to
encouraging.
Yes. So we'll definitely be cheering these ladies on. It's nice to get the men and the women playing in competitions in the same month. So that's pretty cool, and excited for some success. So
there you go.
maybe look into the French and the English side. I know the English women have been plagued by injuries coming into the World Cup. I want to say at least 4 of their starting 11 have gotten some bad injuries, where
Sure.
knees and things like that are going to not just keep them out of club game for a while. So.
Yeah. Well, can we also talk about, like, Australia? I mean, anytime you've got
Absolutely.
Sam Kerr behind the ball for you.
Their first match of the tournament has sold out, which that's great news.
It's
I have a feeling we're gonna
every
keep
match,
hearing that.
home
Yeah,
match,
so.
man. I mean, it's just a home match.
Yeah.
So they are one to look at as well. I think that with the injuries that's going on with England right now, was Millie Bright the last one?
I think maybe
I think she was
so.
the last one to kind of be counted
Yeah.
out, which that's a huge blow for Chelsea, for the Chelsea women.
Yeah, it is. Plus, we don't want to see Rose Lavelle snatch her soul the way she did in the last World Cup when she immediately attacked her and megged her on the end line.
Yes. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well,
I love me some Millie Bright,
hey,
man.
it happens to the best of us.
It does.
Sometimes you're the megger, and sometimes you're the
get
Meggy.
megged.
So
Yes.
it happens, man.
But I think that the U.S. are primed right now to come in and kind of be, and I hate even calling us this, but to be that really strong dark horse. To be like, okay, you know what? Yes, people are voting against us. People are not, recognizing. Because, once again, Sam Kerr, Australia, of course, you're going to throw
Sure.
them in the mix. The Lionesses.
And we're all rooting for Marta, a sixth
oh my
World
gosh.
Cup. That's amazing. She's
Well,
probably
she's
not
the
going to
GOAT.
play a ton, but
She's
I mean,
the GOAT, dude.
She's absolutely
She's the
amazing
GOAT.
to watch out there. There's going to be a lot of big names. I really need to start studying the rosters and see who's going to make it, because there were some big players coming through for Netherlands last time around.
Yeah.
If I remember during the Euro. So, and I think that's going to prompt us to get our good friend of the pod, Ayo, to get back out here and give us a little bit of a primer on all these different teams and who we need to be watching out for during the World Cup. So
Absolutely.
Women's sports have really, really taken the world by storm over the last few years, and I'm excited.
goodness.
I'm excited for this Women's World Cup in a way that I can say I really rarely have been before.
Yeah.
And it's mainly just been a little bit of a blind spot from the standpoint of I follow a lot of soccer, and I follow the U.S. women when they're playing in a match that seems important. But I've watched more and more of the friendlies and things, and I'm really excited. And I tell you what. Underestimate the youngsters at your peril, because they have been brought up in a system that says we're world champions and we accept nothing less.
Well, this is what I was going to say about even the local stuff that we're preparing to do. I want to expose, especially with the possibility of talking a little more about the Indy 11 women's squad. I want to expose as many, young people out there to women's soccer and to be able to inspire them, because when they see them doing it, then they know they can. I remember the first time I saw, Tim Howard. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, yes, this is what I want to do, and it inspired me as a black man to see a black man in goal. Yeah. And so I was like, man, this is just so cool.
Yeah.
So
representation matters.
Exactly, and that's why I'm so excited about the possibilities that we have going on with the show. But this is just another one of those things where, American young women get to see American women taking it to the world, man. Yeah. And
absolutely.
That's absolutely awesome.
And I had posted it in the blurb for the last show, but if you haven't seen the commercial about how the rest of the world intends to take down the U.S. women's national team, I highly recommend it. It's clever and funny, and all the requisite stars are out in this one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's great. I think we're.
It is that time, my friend.
Yeah.
And actually, I did not pay him a penny to lead us into the Hey Aaron segment, because
we need
this
Hey
is
Aaron
perfect.
music.
We do. That's no, dude. No. Let's do. No. Let's do this one. No, that one. Scary. There you go. The Hey Aaron segment right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. Oh, he's getting trigger happy. Oh, I kind of like that. Let's try it again. Wait. No. Wait. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now entered into the Hey Aaron segment. of the show.
Gotta love a good preset
like that.
digifile.
That is 1980s. That's like mullet and T-top Trans Am right there, my friend. That's exactly what that is.
That did it. Yes, we're gonna have to get some more stock YouTube noises to play on our show.
Oh man. Okay, so I have a simple question for you because once again, this is all relevant to the question I had for you. How robbed do you feel as an American male not being exposed earlier on to women's sports? Because of the impact that they're making now. Now, I get it that there's context there, but they've always been around.
That's an interesting and great question from the standpoint of I can distinctly recall when I was a kid growing up. I had a girl playing on our travel soccer team for the first few years that we played. Mm-hmm. And because, girls develop a little younger, the athleticism, there was no disparity at that age, right? 12 to 14, she held her own. And again, this is my youth. This is, mid-'80s, late 80s soccer. So take that with a grain of salt. But at the end of the day, I think I got exposed early on to the fact that, girls can play. My mom had been an athlete for what they were allowed to do during her time period growing up. So, I played other sports, and there was a lot of camaraderie between the boys basketball teams and the girls basketball teams, and we'd arrive at games at the same time for tournaments and things of that nature, and you just became friends. You had a certain amount of mutual respect for one another, and the men's sports, much like in every other realm of society, sort of get the focal point. But what I've found really impressive over the last few years, and in a strange way, I think COVID exposed us to this, because we're like, we're stuck at home. What is there? Well, there's going to be WNBA, who's the first to be in the bubble, and the WSL, who's going to be the first sporting league to start back up in the middle of all this. And you watched it and you went, hey, they're pretty good. Yeah. And you watched the U.S. women's national team play and you go, hey, they're pretty good. They understand what playing at the highest level means. And if your immediate response to that question is, well, yeah, but LeBron would kick her ass, I feel like you're willfully missing the point.
Come on, man.
I feel like you're willfully missing the point, because we support all sorts of things. We support all levels of sports, and you never think twice about it. If you're an Indy 11 fan, you're an Indy 11 fan because they're your local team. You don't sit there going, well, but yeah, they're a USL team and it's not quite the MLS. And if you do, you need a life. You need to be worried about far more important personal things than that, because that's a silly line to be drawn in the sand, and I'm sorry. You can dislike it. Feel free to not like it if you want. But there's no reason to trash it. That's your women's national team out there.
That's right.
On the field for you.
Yep.
And the minimum you can do is shut the fuck up if you can't support them.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the applause.
So I feel happy to have been exposed to it early on, and I am happy that we're finally giving them the recognition they deserve. I'm happy that the money is finally getting there, and we've said it all along. Show up, you get a good product, the money will come, and it's taken far too long, but it's beginning to happen now, and it's like anything else. Do you go watch your local theater?
That's a good point.
Do you follow local bands? Well, then go follow your local Indy 11 team.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, man, we're going to make.
I think we're going to make Instagram.
Gram.
We're going to make the gram.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
With that, ladies and
I'll
gentlemen,
try to have it posted by this time tomorrow.
We have come to the end of our show, and we've come to the Aaron's last and final thoughts of the show. I don't know where you're going to take us, brother, but hey, I'm excited about where it's going. Let me just say this, guys. Listen, Sunday at 8. Mm-hmm. We will be here. U.S. men's national team will be taking on Canada, and we will be here.
The Canucks. Those dirty, dastardly Canucks.
Well, they could be the Jets, too.
Snidely Whiplash.
They could be the Jets, Maple Leaves. I'm just saying. I mean, whatever. But anyway, we'll be here. Guys, feel free to come out and join us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching us. But now I'm going to hand it over to my guy, Aaron, for his final thoughts. Aaron, what's on your mind, brother?
You know, I tell you what's on my mind, Evan, is we just celebrated the 4th of July. And I love this country. But to paraphrase James Baldwin, I love this country so much that I reserve the right to criticize it at all times. Because if you love something, you want it to be even better. You want to recognize the flaws it has and say, can we address that? Can we do better? Because we had, over the course of this weekend, at least 5, and I'm thinking 7, mass shootings, wherein people showed up armed to the teeth at a block party, at backyard gatherings in D.C., Philadelphia, Baltimore, Louisiana, Texas, all across the country. It wasn't red state, it wasn't blue state, it's ugly state.
Yeah.
It's ugly America. And we have got to insist on better. And I sound like a broken record because honestly, we've been here so many times. But at some point, every last one of us is going to experience this tragic event. And you're going to find yourself at an amusement park, at a festival, at a concert, and some dickbag with no dick is going to walk in with an AR-15 and massacre people. And pretending we can't actually do something about it is the most un-American thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. We can do anything. We're the 3M of the world. Show it to us, we'll make it better. I don't understand why we can't improve on this. I don't understand why we just shrug our shoulders and say, you know what? The cost of the Second Amendment, I guess, is, I don't know, 400 people randomly, senselessly killed every year. Never mind the thousands upon thousands more who die in other acts of gun violence. So it is not un-American to say the U.S. has a problem. The U.S. is amazing. The U.S. could improve. The U.S. has things the rest of the world wants. The U.S. has a lot of things the world doesn't want any part of. And if we can't have that conversation, doesn't even matter what your political stance is, doesn't matter if you're red state, blue state, independent, sovereign citizen. None of it matters if we will not address what is becoming an existential crisis in this country. And there is no better time to think about it than when we're asking, why did people before us fight for this country? And if we can't collectively stand up for this, then subsequent 4ths of July won't matter a whole lot down the road. We will be judged by history as having failed to do the most basic steps toward preserving this democracy. I love this country, and I'm going to be supporting this country wearing the red, white, and blue jersey on Sunday night against Canada. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Evan?
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate doing this because, like, you always drop the mic, and I feel like... Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. No, seriously, thank you for tuning in. This is my friend Aaron. I'm Evan. Thank you for joining us at the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat, brought to you by the Evan and Aaron Show. We will see you on Sunday at 8 p.m.